Pinchos ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. We're all familiar with the famous story. Pinchos gets up and he does what's right. And Rashi describes to us the scene that happens immediately afterwards. Klal Yisrael start to insult Pinchos. Do you know who his grandfather was? His grandfather was Yisrael, an Oved Avodah Zarah, someone that worshipped idols. And this is what his grandson does? That's why, says Rashi, the Torah specifically tells us that he had another grandfather, and that was Aaron HaKohen. Oyev Shalom v'roidev Shalom, someone that seeked out and loved peace. Now there's something difficult to understand. If Klal Yisrael understood clearly that what Pinchos did was the right thing to do, so why did they insult him? But if they were not sure if it was the right thing, what does it help that the Torah tells us that his grandfather was Aaron HaKohen? Explains the Lubliner Rav, Reb Meir Shapiro Zatzal, an amazing explanation. He says that every mitzvah is valued with how much its performance runs counter to our personal inclination. How much we have to go against our nature to perform a mitzvah. Klal Yisrael wanted to put Pinchos down by saying this act was easy for him. It was natural to him. After all, he's the grandson of who? Of Yisrael. And therefore an act of murder was almost easy for him. That's why the Torah tells us, no, he was also a grandson of Aaron HaKohen, someone that seeked out and loved peace in Klal Yisrael. And therefore for him, for Pinchos, to perform this act was against his nature. It was difficult for him. He had to go against everything that he stood for. Explains the Lubliner Rav, mitzvahs sometimes could go against what we want to do. But that's the value of the mitzvah. Somebody came to Rav Hutner and they said, Rebbe, there are certain mitzvahs that I just cannot do. They're against my nature. I can't do these. And Rav Hutner answered as follows. He said, imagine if you're driving down the highway 85 miles an hour. You're going speeding down the highway. And you look in the mirror and you see this flashing lights. The police stopped you. And they say to you, excuse me, sir, you are traveling 85 miles an hour where the speed limit is 50. What are you thinking? So he says, Mr. Officer, I'm sorry, but it wasn't me. He says, what? He says, no, my car's on cruise control. It was nothing to do with me. I wasn't driving it at this speed. The police officer smiles and he says, excuse me, sir, that's not true. Because who was the one that set it at that speed originally? It was you. Says Rav Hutner, there are certain mitzvahs that we find to be difficult. They go against our nature. Pinchos teaches us in this week's Parsha, the value of a mitzvah is something that sometimes we find hard, we find difficult, but that specifically is what shows our dedication to the Ribbono Shel Olam. The harder it is, the more it runs counter to our personal inclination, is the more dedication we have to the Ribbono Shel Olam. Have a wonderful Shabbos.